Now the comments have been very clear since the Monaco episode, which we raced in cockpit view. You guys have absolutely loved it and you wanted to see it return, and I said I would bring it back sporadically from time to time, and today is one of those days. So today's episode will be raced in cockpit view, as you can tell by the thumbnail. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and we're going to jump into it as we arrive at the final sprint race of season 1 at Brazil before we head to Las Vegas next episode and then Abu Dhabi. So let's get into it. As always, the last episode linked in the top right, go check it out. Small spoiler already on screen regarding a regulation change. But yeah, we're going to basically take care of this right now and protect upgrades. We have near enough 3,000 R&D points, so we're going to go ahead and protect as many parts as we possibly can. The key things here are going to be engine power and ERS. Fuel consumption or fuel efficiency is the last of my concerns, so we'll leave those to the end. And we'll just basically cover as much as we can possible. So as you can see, we just have 2 upgrades left for fuel related purposes, so we'll take care of those in the next episode, and that should mean we have no issues covering ourselves for next season, and also potentially adding a few extra upgrades on top. Now, as you can see, rain is forecast for the main race. Qualifying dry, sprint dry, so we'll see how that affects things in this weekend's action. And with that, we're going to jump into the performance chart, because you can see Red Bull back on top, Aston Martin second, Mercedes, Ferrari all pretty close, Alpine and Haas taking a step forward this weekend, and then there's a bit of a gap to Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri and Williams at the bottom. So yeah, no upgrades for us in 2 races, but we won the last episode in insane circumstances with a bit of rain and strategy. And yeah, here we are then, exact same camera settings as what I ran in the Monaco episode. If you want to go check them out, they're in that video. But yeah, we're going to get through practice. I will admit, this was a bit like Mexico. The game recommended to run the preset 4, which is the higher top speed setup, and I wasn't too sure about it. Car balance fell a bit off, so I made some adjustments for qualifying after this. We hit all of our targets though, pace was decent, tyre wear was decent as well, fuel consumption very, very low. So yeah, with all that in mind, not too shabby. A decent session, got some decent data, and that will be valuable for the sprint, not so much for the main race as that is going to be covered in rain, but alas, we'll try and see if we can make things work as we jump into qualifying. Now, let's see what happens here. This should be fun. Mexico was a decent qualifying. We had one of our better laps. You know, we pulled out the bag and clutched up when it mattered in Q3 the most. So hopefully we can do a bit more of that here today. So here we are. Soft tyres on first proper lap in anger. And we're going to kick things off with, you know, as usual, a time lap, cool off lap, second time lap. And that is going to be our first run. Now, turn 1, I ran a bit deep. Turn 2, I get completely out of shape and have a huge moment. At this point, I was debating backing off and trying again, but I thought, you know what, let's just try and push on anyways and see what we can do as a banker. Bottas leaving the pits, and he looks like he's going to get out of the way here, but then gets back on the racing line, and pretty much, a bit like in the last episode with the Hulkenberg, Bottas completely ruins my run. So yeah, luckily it wasn't that fast. I made that mistake in turn 2, but the AI in back-to-back qualifying is messing up my qualifying runs, which really isn't ideal. My second run got off to a poor start as we ran super wide in turn 1, just outbroke myself massively. But you can see the time we gained through turn 2 just by simply keeping it tight. Through the right-hander here at the hairpin, again running it in way too deep and outbraking myself, just trying too hard to push. And now obviously we're finding time, but again oversteer there, which made a mistake. And I make a last-minute call yet again to back off, and actually I'm going to try one more time on the same tyres, because tyre wear is so low here, you can do this quite easily. You can see now, compared to last time, we were actually up by a couple of tenths. So this is the best run of the 3 so far. So I was justified in backing off in both of my first initial runs. And yeah, this is going to be our first proper lap. All over the shop, through the final corner, struggling for balance as we have some understeer, there's some oversteer, trying to get the power down. Eventually, DRS open up to the line, and it's going to be a 1 minute 8.6, and that gives us P15. So yeah, as you can tell, that's a bit risky, so we're going to go again because that is not a lap time that guarantees safety. Lando P7, he's safe and is purple in sectors 1 and 3, so Lando's cooking, and we are a long way off in those sectors, by the way. I'm not sure how different our setup is, but we're losing like 3/10 in the first and third sector, especially the third one, which is only one corner, so that's really, really weird to me. Anyway, we're going to try it and get through, so time for the final runs in qualifying, and we know exactly where to improve. Turn 1, nice and tight this time on the curb. Turn 2 also pretty tidy. Could have taken a bit more inside curb there, but still decent enough. And we're going to improve in the first sector by half a tenth. Down to sector 2 now and turn number 4, braking at the 100. Fourth gear. Could have taken a bit more inside curb there, but we get a really good exit and we go back up on our time. But still no big improvement as we head into the double right-hander. Going in a bit earlier this time to try and carry a bit more speed and stay tighter. Down to the hairpin. Beautifully done on the brakes there, staying nice and tight through both of these apexes as we then open up the exit using the curb as we now head into this next right-hand hairpin, the final one of the lap. Important here to get a good exit and get the drive.
And that's just 30 seconds left in the session.
And as you can see, making our way into the final corner, we actually nail it there, find a load of time, braking super late and still managing to get the car rotated. And we're going to improve by 3/10 as we close out the lap. The question is this going to be enough to move us into Q2 across the line at 1 minute 8.296 P11? And let's find out if it was enough. Yes, it was. P14, and we get through by just under a tenth of a second. And also a few penalties there for Joe, also Albon and Sargent with 5-place grid penalties for the race tomorrow. So not sure exactly what they got up to, but yeah, definitely an issue for those guys. Either way, Q2 time now then. So this first time lap was actually on the tyre we just used to get through, because you know we always do a banker on a used tyre in Q2. And yeah, currently pushing here, we've got 1 minute 8.296 as a reference, and we do a 0.423 on that same tyre, so slightly slower than our Q1 lap cutoff, but it gets us in the ballpark. As you can see, Lando down in P14, Leclerc 13th, Hamilton 15th, and a few cars out of position. So we're definitely, even though we're P12, we're basically last right now, let's be honest, because those other 3 guys are going to be faster than me. So yeah, work to be done, and we've got to try to improve. We know we can at least do a 2, and obviously the goal is to try and go faster than that. So let's see, it's going to be tough to get out of this one, but we'll give it a shot. Turn 1, braking at the 50, down a third. Nice and tight again there, and we take a lot of inside curb, and this time you can see we get a much better exit, and we find some time. DRS now open as we prepare turn 4, again brake at the 100 and go down the 4th gear, try to get a lot more inside curb. I went a bit wide and got some understeer, but still good enough as we keep improving, making our way up to the double right-handers, and again trying to stay nice and tight here to not give up too much time, then open the line up and then tuck back in for the hairpin, and that found us a lot of time. Through the long left-hander, trying to maintain decent speed. We actually lost a little bit, to be fair, through there. Didn't quite stay as tight as my previous run. The hairpin, though, really good time found there on entry, mid-corner and exit. And now through the downhill left into the final corner yet again, just sending the car in here and finding time, just like in Q1, pretty much a carbon copy.
30 seconds left in the session.
And now up to the line we go. It's going to be just over 3/10 of an improvement, and it's going to be DRS open as we cross the line, and we're going to set in 1 minute 8.1 and P9 for now. Realistically, I don't think it's going to be enough, and it isn't enough as we finish P12. So yeah, not ideal. I've been lacking pace all weekend, just haven't really found the right balance with the car. And to be fair, to be only 3 and a bit tenths off Lando, that's quite a decent recovery. The gap was a lot bigger all weekend, but Lando threw penalties again for Gasly, Ocon, Stroll, and Magnussen on top of the other ones that were happening in Q1. So yeah, I don't know what the AI are doing, but I'll take it. They're stacking up on pens, so both Alpines and Stroll were going to go back. So it looks like we could be starting a bit higher up in the race, to be fair. So that's a small blessing in disguise. Either way, guys, that is it for qualifying and an early exit for us in Q2. Just to quickly summarise, we also took part in FP2 after practice and got the programs done, bringing our points total to 1,800 points. And as always, getting a healthy amount of discounts. So yeah, guys, that's it for qualifying. Let's get into the sprint race and let's see if we can try and fight back and hopefully have a decent one.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, just ahead of George Russell, who starts this event from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Ocon, Norris, Stroll, Martinez, Sonoda, Joe, Magnussen, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Albon, Sargent, and Nick de Vries. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Here we are then. Time for the sprint race. This should be fun and chaos at the same time. 12 laps, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or there or thereabouts. We're going to go for the soft tyre, which is what the game has recommended by default. And yeah, hopefully save our harder tyres for the race. I've gone a bit low on the front wing for the race. I've also made some adjustments to tyre pressure to hopefully match up with the AI a bit better, but we'll see how it goes. No promises. Now then, lining up is going to be difficult without seeing the line, so we're going to have to look at the thing on top of the screen as a reference. It's not too bad. Anyway, let's go to work. Let's send it, and let's see what happens. Here we go. I can't see the RPM. I'm pretty much just guessing right now. Away we go. And it's an incredible start. Slight bit of contact there with Gasly, and we're going to almost run into the curb. We're going to have to back off at the last second.
That move was illegal, I'm afraid, mate. Return the position, give it back.
What? No, that can't be the case. There was no yellow flag or anything. Well, I'm going to restart because obviously I'm not going to do that. So we'll try again. Right, let's try that again. Hopefully we have no BS and we can have a nice fair start. Away we go for the second time. Lando off poorly for the second time. This one wasn't as good from us. But hey ho, it is what it is. Got robbed of a perfectly good start by the game there for no good reason. But we go around the outside of Ocon and we're going to move ourselves into the top 10. Ocon fights back. I don't really know where the deficiency of our car is around here. I can't figure it out based off sector times. So I need to find out. I think it's straight line speed, but I could be wrong. But I'm not particularly great in the corners, at least not based off qualifying sector 2 times. So we're about to find out exactly where the issue is in this sprint, and that will also help me kind of identify what I can do in the main race to adjust the setup. But yeah, shame, really could have been P7 right now had we not had that BS, but instead we're P10. Still, both Aston Martins ahead, so important to try and get stuck in here. Top 8 score points. I can confirm our straight line speed is good. We're pretty decent. No big issues on the straights. Stroll being put under pressure here by Alonso.
Okay, DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
I think I can pass these guys.
Okay, some information on Norris. They've got an issue with their car. They're going to be slow.
Well, that's definitely not ideal. Lando in trouble. He's behind anyway, so he's not going to score points, but this will affect his grid position for the main race, which is a problem. Oh, Alonso on Stroll. Here we go. Closing. They're free to race, so this could be costly for them in the championship, considering Lando's got car trouble. Stroll holds on though. We're going to fall in behind. Might get a chance to go 2 for 1 here if I can time this right. Yellow. Behind. We're pretty close here. I've got the run on Alonso. Using the battery. Here goes for the move on Stroll again. Going to squeeze through the gap. We're going to get Stroll. Alonso DRS, but we're going to go for it anyway. Try and get them both. Contact. Alonso is not going to yield. We get a warning in the process, but we're through. And Stroll goes back through on Alonso. So that is P8 for us, and that puts us into points, which is the best we can hope for really in this race, looking at the pace scenario. Oh, one nice move. Both Aston Martins, I think, are battling right now. Yes, they are. This might help us break a little gap. My pace is dropping a little bit. I'm struggling maybe on wall tyres a bit more than that AI at this stage, but we've got the gap over Alonso. The Aston Martins have completely just shot themselves in the foot and imploded with letting both their drivers battle so heavily. And I think there's a bit of an issue with the Aston Martin not being able to open its DRS. I've noticed this season a few times they don't open the DRS and it affects their pace, which might explain why they're so strong in the R&D chart yet not that fast. Either way, P8, we score a point, and that is a decent sprint as we maximise the result.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7 mile circuit with 9 left turns and 6 right turns for a total of 15 corners. It's a wet one today as well, so grip and visibility will be at a premium, and the drivers will need to be careful coming up the hill in Sector 3, the scene of many an accident over the years. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Perez, Leclerc, Martinez, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Norris, Russell, Bottas, Ocon, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Tsunoda, Albon, Magnussen, Stroll, De Vries, Sargent, and Zhou Guanyu. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. They've had a fantastic campaign, a wonderful year, and they come into this weekend's Grand Prix as a fully deserving champion.
I agree it's been a truly impressive season, but championship or no, I don't think they'll be gently cruising around to the finish line. In fact, with points no longer a concern, there's a lot less to risk, so we may even see a more aggressive approach.
Simply put, it's absolutely pissing it down. So much rain, and to be fair, this could be interesting. Could we see a safety car, maybe even a red flag from too much rain? One could hope. Anyway, we're starting from P5, as there was a few penalties, so we're starting pretty damn high up, and this has been a pretty insane recovery considering how off the pace we've been this weekend so far. So, strategy for this one is going to be a one-stop. Looks like a full wet to Inter, as the rain is going to draw up later on. The key thing here is fuel. So, I'm going to underfuel by 3 laps. Fuel was not a problem in the sprint. We went with 0.5 and it was fine. It was manageable. So, normally when it rains, you're able to save a lot of fuel. So, yeah. I'm going to take a bit of a chance here to try and give myself a bit more pace and go for a really low fuel in terms of the setup. I've also gone +1 on front wing to give myself a bit more edge on the front end in the wet conditions. But yeah, pretty much besides that, we're ready to go. So yeah guys, prediction down below. Can we make it count? I'm hoping my setup, which is a bit better in the corners, might give us a bit of an edge in the wet. Or at least that's what I thought. Then the sprint race happened and I wasn't so sure anymore. So I don't know where I stand. Either way, should be a fun one. I always like a bit of rain. So let's get into it, especially the challenge of cockpit view. Here we go then. This should be a fun one. Lights are on. And they're out. Away we go. Wheel spin kicking in, but it's a good start. Car snapping away as we try to squeeze around the outside of Perez at turn 1. We managed to get the move done. Leclerc on the inside, warning for a collision. Struggling to get the power down here as the back end is getting loose. Gonna have to defend here as Checo looks for a way pass. Easy does it. Just realised I forgot to put the virtual mirror on, so we'll fix that in a moment. For now, we've got a healthy gap there over Checo, so no concerns. So let's see what kind of pace we have, and are we competitive in the wet? Hamilton leads the way, Verstappen second, Leclerc third. So the top 3 in the championship are in reverse order in this race. So if it finishes like that, things would really close up heading into Las Vegas. But let's try and see if we can hang on to these 3. No DRS, of course, needs conditions. And besides trying to stay competitive and stay alive and be able to have decent visibility, The main thing here is we're trying to hopefully time it and get the switch to inters spot on. Going to move the brake bias slightly towards the front as I'm locking the rears. We've got decent straight line speed, so we should be fine to hold on. Checo closing, but the delta now leveling out. Oh. Whoa, completely I broke myself there. Way too late on the brakes. Slight bit of contact there with Checo as he hits the brakes. And we lose a place. Alonso pressuring.
No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving.
No damage. That's good. I'm braking way too late. I'm out braking myself every single corner. Got to readjust my braking points for the wet conditions. Pace isn't that great right now. We are struggling. Had to put the brake bias on 59. I was locking the rears on 58. But now I'm locking the fronts, so there's no fine balance point. Just got to choose which of the two we kind of want to, you know, not have.
I definitely think we need to stay on this tyre a bit longer, but there's no question the track's drying. We might be in a position to change soon.
Right, there's the first update regarding the weather, so possible change on the way. Let's get a confirmation.
The radar suggests that this heavy rain will be with us for a while now. Full wet seem like the best tyre for now.
That contradicts the statement a bit, but usually when it comes from Mark without asking, that's usually the one you want to trust, rather than asking for it yourself. I'm really struggling with the back end. I have no traction, and the rear is not cooperating. It shows in tyre wear as well. We're just having so much trouble with the rear. I can't get any power down. I'm nowhere near full throttle. The setup feels horrible in these conditions. We're not bleeding time. We're not under big pressure. I'm good enough in certain areas to pull away, but I'm just not competitive overall. Maybe the inters might be a better tyre for us. Feels like the track has improved a little bit in the last couple of minutes. The spray isn't as dense and the rain has eased up a little bit. So inters could be on the agenda soon, I think. Struggling massively to get the power down, my god. We're under no pressure. We are actually spreading the field a bit and pulling away a bit from the cars behind, but the pace just isn't there, man. Trying to go a bit low on the front wing at the next stop. I feel like that might help stabilise the car, make it a bit more drivable. I have moved the brake bias back to 58. I want to try it again. Now that I've got a good feel of the conditions, I want to see if I can try and drive it and make myself a little bit quicker rather than 59, which is just too much on the front. I can't really push the braking zones. I just have to be careful in certain places. I really don't think it's far off inters. It could be worth a gamble. These last two laps, I haven't actually lost any time to Perez anymore. We're losing about half a second a lap. Feels like the track has improved slightly. I'm also starting to gap Pierre Gasly, who's behind. Only Alonso is kind of keeping up. So I feel like we're finding a bit of pace right now. So an inter's not far. Well, the lap times aren't getting faster.
There's a new strategy available on the MFD. Copy.
This is our scheduled pit stop lap. I was going to go for the intro anyway, as I had it selected already. And now the team is saying that. Let's see what the front four do. Do the front four pit. Yes, they do. Let's follow in.
Pitting this lap then. Come into the pits at the end of this lap.
Got to slow it down to 80, looking at the steering wheel, there we go. Yeah, everyone's going inters. This is the time to switch. Perez stays out, so we might get a chance to gain something on him here. Probably won't be much, but still. 2.2, textbook stop. Most of the midfield runners are staying out, which is interesting. So we'll see how that kind of pans out.
Up to speed now, let's get some heat into those tyres.
Let's see if we can switch these tyres on. We've now had that wing adjustment, so we're a bit low on the front wing, so slightly better straight line speed, but also crucially a bit more stability, which might help with the rear traction, which is where I feel the time is. So let's see if that works out for us. The Inter is way faster. I knew I was right, my gut feeling was right. I could have switched laps ago. I reckon it would have been faster. We could have actually done some damage. Stroll was behind me when I left the pit exit. We're now 3 seconds ahead. So much quicker. One thing I will say, Checo's in the pits. I don't think I've got enough to undercut him, but wow, the traction's so much better. I can get the ERS on in 5th gear, which is insane. I had to wait till 7th before.
Lando's in the pits. Lando in the pits.
The big thing here is Sainz. You just saw him there in the pit lane. So we're only about 17 points off in the Drivers' Championship. So we might actually get a few points back on him in this race. Oh, this is so much better. Look at the traction. I can actually floor. I'm 6/10 up already. This is wonderful. Let's see what our pace is relative to the leaders. We're going to see a whole batch of purple laps come in. 19.6 from Leclerc, the benchmark. Let's see what we can do as we cross the line. 19.4. Well then, that's a turn up, although Alonso goes even quicker. So let's see how that works out. Yeah, I think the track will just constantly improve now until the end. I'll be honest, I can't see myself finishing anywhere other than P5. The big thing now is fuel. We have to try and get some fuel on target, so we're going to have to go into fuel management mode and try to get that fixed, as I haven't saved as much as I hoped for. And it's going to be harder now than compared to when it was full wet, so we've got a better car, better package, better combo, so I should be able to do it a bit easier now and make up for it. So let's go into fuel management and let's try and get this car to the end of the race. This is going to be close. We're saving about 0.10 per lap, and there's 12 laps to go. That is literally perfect for the very last lap of the race at that rate. That's the best we can do right now.
Caution, caution.
Oh, Leclerc.
Someone's come off ahead of you. There's a yellow flag ahead.
No retirement, and there's contact with Perez.
Okay, the safety car is out. Safety car is out. We need to form up at reduced pace. Keep a close eye on that delta time. Make sure to keep it positive.
Whoa, red flag. What a bombshell. First one out of nowhere. Leclerc must have spun out, had an issue. He got a 5-second penalty, and then Checo crashed into him. So, first ever red flag.
This is essentially a free stop, so let's think very carefully about our strategy for the rest of this race.
Yeah, so we'll probably go for another fresh intermediate. I mean, it's logical, right? We've got the tutorial, but we know how to run this pretty much. We've done this before in old F1 games. You can see, race suspended lap 27, restart lap 29. Right now, it's raining. It says it's going to dry up, but from what I can tell, it's not going to dry up in time. So we're going to commit to the intermediate. I think there's no need to risk. I wish there was more information in terms of right now, 5 minutes time, 10 minutes time, but it looks like it's going to be intermediate to the end. So, yeah, we could be on for a surprise podium here, guys, a shock podium. Wow.
It's good to get back on track. Let's make the best of this restart. Let's go.
Here we go then. Straight to the action.
Okay, so that's a red flag, no overtaking, and let's get back into the pits, please.
So now race suspended lap 29, restart lap 31. Have we found a new glitch?
Good luck out there. Again.
Yeah, you said it. Again. Okay, this time we're underway, and it's an incredible start. Hamilton fights back into turn 1. No idea what the grip levels are. Clearly I'm a bit too cautious, but we're going to get Verstappen. And we're going to move into P2. Track is massively dried out. Wow, what a sequence. Bit of a bug there with a second red flag, I feel like, but alas, we'll take it. Verstappen now battling with Alonso. Alonso getting stuck in here, looking to try and cash in as well. There's so much grip. We're on a fresh inter as well. Right, let's see if we can lock in P2 this race. That would be an incredible achievement. Fuel was an issue though. We still have to manage it. There could be a switch to dries here. Now, I'm not going to lie, we've had a big problem. This double red flag has completely broken my strategy because we've basically lost 4 laps and we got no fuel saving done in that 4-lap period. So we're in a lot of trouble now, and we're going to have to go into extreme fuel saving to have any chance of making it. We've got a good straight line speed. You can see Alonso there can't challenge, but we might need a switch to dryers to bail me out here, an extra pit stop just to give myself half a chance to save a bit more fuel. The rain is gone, so we're on a drying track right now, but we are saving fuel extreme.
Right, we've got enough fuel for 3 more laps.
Extreme edition here. Got to try and save 0.2 per lap. We're driving so slow. I'm lifting so much. to try and get as much fuel on target as possible. I'm not able to save 0.2 per lap, so at this rate, I don't know if I'm going to make it. Just got to keep trying to save and somehow pray it's going to be enough. Alonso putting the pressure on, goes to the inside. Oh, we get forced wide. I just can't compete right now. Verstappen trying to go through, leaving space. The fuel's more important than the position. In many ways, I want to try and get a few points. Alonso will probably get a P2 now at this, but I'm not super worried. I'm more concerned about getting to the end of the race. Just so you can see, this is where I'm lifting. Crossing the start finish. Downshift's done, and then let the car roll into one. This is why I'm under pressure out of here. Good exit this time. Verstappen might not be close enough, so we can afford to lift here as well. I don't think I'm going to make it on fuel. We are extreme fuel saving right now. Even when I put the throttle on, we are not full throttle, but I can't see myself saving 0.3 in a lap. I need a miracle. Lifting super early here. Trying to go as extreme as possible. I've got good straight line speed, so I've got to try and use it. Got a ton of battery, which we can use as well tactically to try and defend at the right time. But we need a miracle on this final lap, especially with that AI in full power mode. Verstappen goes through. Oh, big old snap. Verstappen through. Can't really fight it. I think if we get a top 5, that's a decent result. That double red flag has done me badly. Gasly goes through. Leclerc's got a pen, so we can afford to maybe let him go if he does try it. But we need to go in extreme fuel economy now if we want to get to the finish line. Putting my car in the middle of the track. If we can get enough fuel saved, I can get enough momentum, we might be able to roll over the line. We're going to need a big old lift here to give myself a chance to make it. And the car just roll. We might just make it because of that. Use all the battery now. We're going to try and get momentum rolling. We can afford to give up position to Leclerc. Ocon's the one we have to watch out for. We'll make it. P5.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Well, Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again.
There we go then. A bit of a shame, a bit of chaos. I don't know how I feel about that race, guys. I'm really confused, mixed emotions. I would have taken P6 at the start of the entire weekend. You know, after practice I was a bit concerned, and P6 based off qualifying form is a great result. But then you see what happened and it's tough to accept. But then again, fuel was marginal. I was on course to make it quite easily. You know, I was managing quite well to keep the gap to Alonso, but then that double red flag, the second one, which I'm convinced was a bugged red flag, that took us 2 laps extra away from, you know, saving fuel, which is really annoying. So, yeah, Let me know what you think. Mixed feelings. I don't know how to feel, but still, P6, Alonso P3. Verstappen actually, you know, done okay in the end, to be fair. If we look at the final actual results of the race, Alonso got P2, but Verstappen scored more overall over the weekend. Lando got a couple of points in P9, so that's decent. We outscore Sainz, which isn't too bad as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of guys for the weekend. P6 overall, Lando P11. Stroll scores no points. Alonso, the third highest point scorer this weekend. And we outscore Sainz by 4 points, which means in the standings, you can see we're currently 14 points behind Carlos with 2 races to go. Can we beat him? I'm not sure. Alonso now 6 points behind with that podium finish, which is bad news. So this battle's going to continue. Lando, mathematically, I believe, is out of the equation now with 50 points up for grabs. He's 52 behind Alonso, so he can no longer catch up. So yeah, Lando is locked in P9, and we're looking to hopefully finish P6 if all goes well. Verstappen is the new championship leader. Leclerc second. Hamilton right back in the mix with that win here today. Russell still has a chance with 50 points on the table, 52 if you include fastest laps, but realistically it's a three-way fight for the title. In the constructors, we're P4, and Aston Martin pretty much unable to catch us now. Quick math, that is 59 points. There's about 88 points up for grabs, 90 points up for grabs, give or take, but realistically they're not going to get a 1-2 in both races, and we're not going to go pointless. So I think we've got this in the bag now. The Mercedes are looking strong to pick up the constructors. Ferrari out of the running officially, mathematically can no longer retain the crown, I believe. So yeah, lots happening in this race, guys. A lot of championships have been decided, and yeah, we'll see what happens next time as we go to Las Vegas for the first time. So that should be fun. Yeah, guys, cheers for watching. Like the video, subscribe for more daily F1 content. Check out the 2 videos on screen if you haven't seen them already. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, and it's goodbye from me.